Welcome back to our channel, where we bring you the newest, most dramatic daily updates you absolutely cannot miss. Make sure to follow and subscribe so you never miss the latest news and plot twists from the show. Dani doesn't know when the feeling of unease began to seep into every breath she took. She only knows that the moment she opened the misdelivered box, everything in her seemingly familiar life shattered. Inside wasn't an invoice or administrative documents as she had assumed, but a USB drive containing a video of Anita performing a secret ritual. In the dim red light, her mother, the powerful woman who always maintained a flawless public image, was placing her hands on the head of a strange woman, calling her by a title that sent a chill down Dani's spine, Mother Superior. Anita's voice when she uttered those two words held none of the softness of a family ceremony. It was laced with submission and reverence, like a forbidden invocation never meant to be spoken in broad daylight. Dani watched the video over and over, but the more she watched, the more her chest tightened as if a hand were squeezing her heart, as though she had just glimpsed a fragment of the truth she was never meant to see. Yet what haunted Dani most was not the ritual itself, but the face of the woman sitting in the shadows. Long hair, a straight high nose, a motionless posture like some deity descending to earth. Dani hadn't even had time to call a name to mind before fear prickled through her skin like needles. Her panic only grew worse when, the very next day, an anonymous photo was sent to her phone. In it, Andre, the man Dani loved, the one she trusted most, appeared at the edge of a similar ritual, standing beside black candles and a symbolic circle Dani had never seen before. Andre's eyes in the picture weren't filled with the familiar optimism she knew, but a heavy expression, as if he were hiding something. She didn't know what was more terrifying, that Andre had actually been present at the ritual, or that someone had staged everything to destroy the last shred of trust she was holding onto. That anonymous image began as a small crack, but the more Dani looked at it, the more she felt her heart split in two between the desire to believe Andre and the swelling suspicion growing like a darkness consuming everything. Anita seemed to sense the change in her daughter's gaze almost immediately. No interrogation, no loss of composure, she simply and quietly ordered her most loyal people to monitor Dani for 72 hours. For Anita, danger never lay in shouting, it lay in absolute silence. That silence made Dani's skin crawl, as if she had unwittingly stepped into a power game in which the person who set the rules would never reveal their true motives. For 3 days straight, Dani constantly felt footsteps behind her, an unfamiliar breath in the darkness, a shadow lingering by the window each time she drew back the curtain. She knew her mother was watching, but she had no idea whether the real purpose was protection, intimidation, or preparation for something far worse. When the day of the regular blessing ceremony arrived, the one where Anita would choose the next person to be granted authority, Dani had braced herself for an internal explosion. Everyone believed the chosen one would be Andre. All the rumors, all the speculative glances converged on him as if it were inevitable. Andre was strong, composed, beloved by the community, everything that matched the traditions of the Dupree family. Dani tried to stand still as people placed supportive hands on her shoulders, as if everyone assumed she would be pleased with that choice. But when the ritual began, when the candlelight flickered over Anita's solemn face, the person who knelt was not Andre, but Nicole. The room sank into suffocating silence. Dani felt her head spin, not because of jealousy, but because of the cold betrayal slicing through the air like a knife. Nicole, the one Dani had always thought had nothing to do with these rituals, turned out to be the one bowing to receive the blessing of power. Nicole's eyes did not tremble, on the contrary, they held a disturbingly calm steadiness, as if she had always known exactly how this would unfold. Anita placed her hand on Nicole's head with an unusual reverence, then lifted her gaze to look directly at Dani. With just one cold sentence, not loud but sharp enough to destroy an entire life, she made everything clear: Dani was not the chosen one. It wasn't a mere rejection. It was a verdict. That shock made Dani feel as though she had been pushed out of a position that was rightfully hers. Worse still, when she went back to scrutinize the video, she finally recognized the identity of the woman Anita had blessed in the shadows, Alora Vance. A dangerous figure in the underworld of business, someone with close ties to Joey, the man who had repeatedly tried to sabotage Dupree projects yet always managed to vanish at the most critical moments. Elora was no stranger. Elora was a warning. Her presence made Dani understand that her mother was not only building a hidden power network behind the family's back but was also secretly selecting an heir based on criteria Dani knew nothing about. Anita had not only taken away Dani's opportunity, she was quietly creating a new order in which Dani did not exist. Questions began to gather like a storm. Was the misdelivered box truly an accident, or had someone wanted Dani to see what was inside? If Andre was involved, why hadn't he said anything? And if he was innocent, who wanted to make Dani doubt him? Who took that photo? Who could have gotten close enough to the ritual to capture that moment? The more she thought about it, the more Dani realized she was not just facing an internal conspiracy, but possibly an entire network beyond her comprehension, one that her mother might be deeply intertwined with in ways Dani had never imagined. When the final hour of the 72-hour surveillance passed, Dani felt clearly that she was no longer the obedient daughter of the family. She had become a target. A threat. A loose link no longer fitting into Anita's design. But what Anita didn't anticipate was that Dani did not collapse. She gathered every piece of evidence, the video, the photograph, the strange behaviors of Elora and Nicole. She threaded the information together like someone cornered with nothing left to lose, and instead of running away, Dani chose to confront. As the weekend drew to a close, Dani stood before Anita's door, fingers clenched around the evidence. But just before she could step inside, a thought flashed through her mind and sent a chill down her spine. Had Dani truly understood how dangerous her mother was? If Anita had enough power to erase her from the line of succession, how much further would she be willing to go to protect her secrets? And if Dani was not the chosen one, then who exactly was Anita preparing to place on that throne of power? Those questions were no longer simple doubts. They were the omens of an approaching storm, one in which Dani would be forced to choose between truth and safety, between resistance and surrender. But whatever choice awaited her, one thing was already certain: the relationship between Dani and Anita had officially entered a dark era from which there would be no turning back.